Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to help you start feeling well.
I have less pain, literally eliminate that pain.
I just feel better.
I can tell that my posture is changing.
Bright light in the day when we've done our workouts online.
Makes me feel so good about myself.
Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin.
All right, here we go. Let's go a warmer color there. We are getting started today with our lower body day. So big part of today obviously is working through the hips and legs, but primarily trying to squeeze our glutes the right way. Okay, so we will work through that as we continue in on the training. So I hope you're ready for that. We're going to have 4 rounds. And we will have a minute rest in between each round before we progress on to the next one. So a little bit about what we do as far as our time here is we have the idea that an I-dedicate, right? These I-dedicates here and here are an inspired action dedicated to an intention greater than yourself. Okay, so this time right now is being dedicated. It is beyond us. It's not just about me and my physicality and what I get out of this, but rather it's about these individuals that we are serving and working towards. So that being said, we are praying for Lori's mom, who's doing dialysis 3 times a week. Ethan has stage 4 liver and bile duct cancer, continuing to pray for him and his family. My friend's wife, who is diagnosed with breast cancer, they are treating that naturally. And going through that. Kira had radiation after a lymphatic surgery, so she is needing strength. So we're praying strength over Kira, and then her dad, Jim, is really declining from pancreatic cancer, so we are praying for him as well as far as strength and their family. Just got an update from Carol. I'm so sorry, Carol. We see these things coming, and regardless, it is hard when someone is lost. So Jane lost that battle last night to brain cancer. So let's pray for Jane's family with that loss and just everything that means to them. So I know that's got to be really hard, because Carol even said her mom actually is still alive. So, to watch your child suffer is always difficult, but to lose them in an unnatural order is very, very difficult. So thank you for sharing that, Carol. Feel free, work out later today. That is just fine. Our verse of the day, but the meek shall inherit the land and delight themselves in abundant peace. Psalm 37:11. All right, let's jump over into our workout. So you guys hear me say often that we need to squeeze our butt, our belly, and our bra strap. Extra important today is squeezing your butt cheeks together. Okay, we're clenching pennies. So as an example here, I've got this handy dandy little penny that my daughter made me. Okay, that's one of those penny presses, a penny pincher, right? We want to take and think we're taking that penny and we're squishing it flat. You are now the penny pincher today. Okay, so let's make some of those. Start our warm-ups. Again, always trying to get your brain to connect to your body as we create movement, so it's not just passive warm-ups. It's very active thought processes. What am I doing with my shoulders? How am I holding my core? Do I even have my hips on? What are my legs doing? Use this time to really connect your brain to movement. That's what we need, okay? So good movements through big circles backwards. Again, shoulders all the way through their range of motion, okay? Well, how does it feel? What's working? What's not? Okay. Internal, external rotations. Okay, so as we go inward, we actually are going to drop our shoulders forward, roll forward, and then pinch back. The reason I want it to go forward right now is so you can feel the difference between that forward roll and what it's like to actually pinch back. Okay, when we get into our exercises, we will just keep those pinched down and back through the entire exercise. Okay, but right now, really feel the difference. What does it feel like? Extra emphasis on that pull back. Okay, into our marches. With our marches, I don't want you to think just lift your knee. I want you to actually think actively press your foot away from your head and your head to the ceiling, okay, is the way that we're going to march, okay? Just so we can, again, begin thinking about how am I performing movement. Okay, good leg swings. Again, if you have low back issues, we don't want to be taking and doing this to your spine. So what I want is your core to just stay compressed and just loosely, right, let that joint work in the hip, okay? Nice, gentle swings in and out. You don't have to do big ones. Just trying to get that hip to loosen up a little bit, get some blood flow going in those legs, okay? Other leg, switch into it. Again, stay tall and tight through that core if you can. If you're able to get that full motion, we're just doing easy swings. We're not trying to force anything beyond our range of motion. Just get things waking up here. Okay, here we go. All right, hip flexor stretches. Remember, with the hip flexor stretch, we are staying tall, right? And keeping those shoulders down and back, but mostly straighten your back knee and really tuck your butt cheeks underneath, okay? So that's a big part of this. So we're not just, sticking our leg way back and arching our back. We want to straighten your knee and then squeeze under, okay? So you tuck, it's going to stretch and really take long that muscle tissue, okay? Switch sides. And you can be switching sides about every 3 to 4 seconds. I do like getting a nice pull up so you can activate that hip flexor, the psoas muscle that goes kind of from your ribs down your spine into your hip. Okay, so stretch and flex, stretch and flex.
3,
okay?
2, 1. Get ready to squat.
Here we go. Squats, very important. Shoulders, belly, tight, tight, tight. And then you're going to rip the floor apart. Okay, so you want to think standing on a newspaper.
3, 2, 1. Squat.
Good core compression. Squeeze really tight. Doing your absolute best all the way through, okay?
That's halfway.
Good tight compression. Squeezing firm through your midsection while you create the movement. Again, use round 1 as a way
3,
to
2,
warm up.
1.
Okay?
Transition to single leg step down.
So this is just more of these are the exercises that we're going to do, so get your brain on board with how to create those movements. Single leg work,
3,
hips behind you.
2, 1. Single leg step down.
Push up nice and tall. Okay, if you want to do RDLs like Jacob all the way on the end over there, remember you're reaching your foot behind you, right? You want to be always trying to get your hips to hinge at the socket and not adjust in your lumbar spine.
That's halfway.
Right? We want to make sure no matter what, whether we're sitting or we're reaching back, we're always doing the change in the hip joint. It's a ball and socket. It's supposed to load and go through bigger ranges of motion. Your spine,
3,
not so
2,
much.
1. Switch sides.
Okay, other side. And again, you're always just doing your best, right? So if you need, if you're able to and stand just like normal and sit
3,
down, that's
2,
great, right?
1.
If you need something to help you
Single leg
balance so you
step
can
down.
focus on the movement, do that. If you feel like you need to just challenge your balance, don't hold on to anything. Have something close in case you feel unsteady, but challenge your balance through it. Right? No matter what, today is all about you getting what you
That's
need.
halfway.
So don't worry about kind of what you think it should be. Think through, how can I get more out of what I'm doing? Because it's a trained behavior. Everything we're doing here is trained. It takes time,
3,
it takes intention.
2, 1. Transition to good morning.
With time and consistency, we can create all sorts of change. Okay, good mornings, same thing about the hips. push them backwards to the wall behind you, and stand up.
3, 2, 1. Good morning.
Okay, so I like to put on display for you. Imagine this is the wall behind me, right? The edge of my screen. I want my hips to reach back all the way to that screen, right? It is possible to bend over without moving my hips really that far back. So when we take those hips and
That's
push them
halfway.
to the wall, it's going to lengthen our spine and more appropriately place the tension in our hamstrings and glutes. That's what we want. Strong glutes. Okay, keep it up. Good squeezes.
3,
Do
2,
your best.
1. Transition to
Awesome.
monster walk.
Monster walks, you can put a band around the knees again. Big part of this one is not letting your knees collapse together. Okay, you want to keep those knees out
3,
and
2,
press
1.
through the movement.
Monster walk.
You can see that through what Jenny and I are doing on each side of this screen. And then Jacob, all the way on the far side, he's doing a lateral step. Okay, so that just means you're stepping sideways, back and forth. Okay, we're trying to load those hips.
That's halfway.
Really get those glutes to fire. Again, in this position, shoulders and core should be tight. That's why we do core on Monday, shoulders on Tuesday, then hips on Wednesday, making sure that you're able to continue the training so we can start applying this each and every day.
3, 2,
Very
1.
good.
Transition to VMO
Awesome.
left.
Vimo! So that just means vastus medialis oblique. That's all it means. Don't worry about that. What it truly means is we're going to just squeeze our quad right above the knee. So you're straightening your knee as hard as you can.
3, 2, 1. VMO left.
Squeeze tight. Make sure that the core stays on. We're not slumping over in our chair. Or if we're standing, same thing. We don't want to be slumped. We always work through that postural positioning. Then squeeze that leg nice and tight. Raise
That's
up
halfway.
and back down. Again, we're not kicking. Okay, I'm not just launching my leg in the air. I want to actively squeeze my quadricep above the knee. Right? That's why it's a slow, controlled movement. It's not just kicking, because that just uses the
3,
momentum of your
2,
power to
1.
get it higher.
Transition to VMO right.
Okay. And then intermediate, even between the basic and the intermediate, would be sitting on the edge of your chair and just
3,
keeping your knees
2,
straight.
1. VMO right.
So depending on what you're able to do, if you're able to do that, like I would have Jenny just scoot to the edge of the chair and then keep her legs straight on the floor, then create a lift. We're always thinking straight knee. And then a great one is over in the advanced, what Jacob's doing. You can see he pushes his heel
That's
in the floor
halfway.
and pulls his toe up. We still want to do that even in the basic and the intermediate. Thinking stretch your leg, push your heel out, toes to your knee, and straighten that knee as hard as you can.
3,
Okay, very good.
2, 1. Transition to hamstring curl.
Okay, cool part. Last one of round one. So kind of the continuation of warm-up will be complete. Then we'll get a minute break. So just
3,
do your best through this.
2, 1. Hamstring.
Right, we're doing a hamstring curl, which just means pull the heels towards your butt or bend your knees nice and hard. Right, Jacob on the floor over there, he's got so much power through his pull, he's actually sliding himself down the floor, right? I'm just staying stationary right below
That's
here,
halfway.
just bending my knees, pulling the heels towards the butt, making sure the hamstrings are on. And then Jenny, she is trying to break that foam roller, drive her heels all the way down through it. So you could even think like a recliner, boom, that pressure to put the footstool down. That's what we're shooting
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
for. Awesome. All right, very good work. Round one is down, so stick around for round two. Make sure that you do get a small drink before we get started. Now, as we continue our workout today, I want you to be thinking about different ways that you could perform the exercises in order to enhance or create a new kind of challenge. So that might be speed. right? How quickly can you do one repetition, right? A very different challenge. Can you do a quick repetition with your core, shoulders, and butt all firing the way that they're supposed to? Can you do very slow and controlled movements, right? We can change the type of exercise or intensity.
Get ready to squat.
Simply by changing how we do the same exercise, and it'll feel a completely new way, okay? So like our squats, you could go slow down and then
3,
pop up and stand
2,
up fast.
1.
Right?
Squat.
And we could change that in rounds 3 and 4, right? So if you want to go slow, quick, you can change it. Go slow down, quick up, stand tall, pinch the butt cheeks firm all the way through, and then sit back down. Okay? Through this movement, there should not be a time that you're not ripping the floor apart. Okay? We always want that lateral pressure out. Compress that core, stay tall, shoulders down and back. Squeeze through the movement. Get all you can.
3, 2, 1. Transition to single leg step down.
So stay on the timer, not the video. The video's off about 5 seconds, it seems like. But compress
3,
that core, stay
2,
tall.
1. Single leg
whole
step
thing.
down.
Tall, tall, tall. Every time you stand up, even if it's with one leg, you should be pushing that leg long and pinching your butt cheeks tight. Okay, a fun way to challenge this one is if you have like a stool or a chair that kind of raises up or goes down, you can challenge the depth of a single leg squat. Okay? It is possible to do a single leg squat all the way down to your heel and stand back up. Okay? That's called a pistol
3,
squat.
2,
Not that we're going to do that
1.
today,
Switch sides.
but we do want to challenge ourselves. Right? And do that in a safe way. So a lot of times that comes from putting a chair behind us that maybe goes down and up at a level that we're able to do,
3,
but it's a
2,
challenge.
1.
Pick the challenge.
Single leg step down.
Okay, your change is always equal to that of how much challenge you're put through. Okay, so if I want change, I need to make sure there's plenty of challenge to meet that. If I have a very small challenge, I'm not going to get this much
That's
change.
halfway.
Okay, and vice versa. If I put in a ton of challenge, I'm not going to get just a tiny change. Right? Your challenge is equal to that of your change. So try hard, right? Focus. Be diligent
3,
to do the work.
2, 1. Transition to good morning.
Very good. Good mornings. Butt travels backwards. Touch the back wall behind you. Okay, so this wall behind me, I can stand 7-8 inches
3,
from it.
2,
If I can reach back
1.
and hit it,
Good morning.
I want to stand up and then take a small step forward. Okay, if I can still go back and touch and squeeze up, scoot forward, reach back. Whoop, that's a little harder. I might take some time and practice that one. Touch the wall and squeeze up. Okay, it should
That's
feel like you're
halfway.
really falling on the back of your heels. The reason we do this is because when I do that, it takes my center of gravity and puts it back over my feet. Okay? That way my center of gravity isn't just pulling right through my hips or through my low back,
3,
right? Or coming
2,
way forward on my toes.
1.
But if I push it
Transition
back,
to monster walk.
it makes it much easier for me to maintain the work through my glutes. That's what we want today. Good monster walks. Remember, stay
3,
tall and tight.
2, 1. Monster walk.
So shoulder blades down and back. Core compressed, nice and firm. Again, do not let your knees kiss together. Okay, we want those knees out and hold firm through your hips. Okay, you can do it. Let's
That's
go.
halfway.
Tight squeeze, firm, all the way through. Good, good, good. Tight squeeze. Awesome. Finish strong. Finish
3,
all the way through.
2, 1. Transition to VMO left.
Good. Okay, VMOs. So again, straightening that knee. Pull the toes towards the knee and push the heel away. Lock it. Lock it, lock it.
3, 2,
Tight squeeze. Good
1.
compression.
VMO left.
Very good. Squeezing through it. Firm, firm, firm. Nice compression. Stay tall and tight, doing your absolute best all the way through.
That's
Your
halfway.
best. Good squeeze, good squeeze. Awesome work.
3, 2,
Good job.
1. Transition to VMO right.
Okay, other leg. Make sure you're squeezing through
3,
that knee. Try to
2,
lock it out.
1. VMO right.
Okay, now there are some who might try this exercise and it actually really hurts the knee. Okay, so I'm missing an ACL. I've got 3 surgeries under my belt trying to fix it. So there are times where my knee just doesn't want to lock, right? I can't get it straight. So what I'll do is I'll just leave my legs straight sitting in a seated
That's
position.
halfway.
And I'll just try to pump my kneecap a little bit and see if I can just get the kneecap to even move if there's some sort of swelling or issue in my knee. And then I begin to pump it and work it, and the muscle tissue starts to work, fires a little bit better, then I can get stronger contractions,
3,
and just in a
2,
little bit of time, I'm able
1.
to get it working.
Transition to hamstring curl.
Okay, so I don't want knee pain to necessarily be an excuse, but we do want to work through it the appropriate way, right? Not that we're going to cause
3,
a ton more
2,
pain,
1. Hamstring.
but we do want to make sure that we're doing the work in order to help your body improve. If it's not improving, why would we do it? That's why we're all about the better body. Okay, squeeze tight. Pull
That's
those heels
halfway.
towards the butt. Okay, drive, drive, drive hard. Bend those knees, bend those knees. Compressing through it, staying tall, shoulders down and back. Firm squeeze,
3,
firm squeeze.
2, 1. Long rest.
Good. Nice long rest. So again, go ahead and grab a drink. 2 rounds down, that means we're halfway. With the 2 left to go, I want you to really think about before you start. Okay, right now, lock it in. What am I trying to get? Are you trying to get more repetitions? Are you going to add some sort of resistance, right? Increase the amount of work that you're doing. You might try both of them. You might be looking just for balance and being able to maintain the right position. Do that. But lock it in right now. What are we going to do?